Hi, shalom friends. Anyone that tells you reading scripture is boring, don't believe him. Because one thing's for sure, they never read the scroll of Esther, which is one of the 24 sacred writings. It's a story that has romance, it has drama, it has intrigue, it has plotting, it has a king, a prime minister, a villain, a beautiful heroine. Come on, you can't get better than that. A fantastic story. And it's not only a story, it happened. And not only is it a true story, but the lesson is everlasting, and that is that good triumphs over evil. So there might be a very wicked, influential individual who wants to do harm to people in general and to Jews in particular. And it looks like he's very successful, but then there's a great turnabout. And God intervenes through a queen and through a wise Jew, and it all works out well. And we celebrate this, and I highly encourage you to read the story in the original, go to Chabad.org, or in the Hebrew, our scroll, whatever it might be. What I would like to focus on is, why is it even written? And now let me explain the question. When you take a look at the miracle, or let's put it this way, when we look at our celebrations, we'll start with Passover, Pesach. That's something that should be written and studied and celebrated. We're talking about a family of slaves for hundreds of years, and in a very short time, they leave proud as free people. It doesn't come from them. They don't make a slave rebellion. It's coming openly through the miracles of the Almighty. They humble these group of people without lifting a finger on their own. They humble an entire country, economy, a superpower, literally. 2 months later, a little bit more, they stand in front of a mountain. God makes them into prophets and talks to them. Very impressive. So we have Passover, we have Pentecost, we have Pesach, we have Shavuos. And then the story continues. I mean, for 40 years, they're in a wilderness, and they're eating food that comes daily. Bread comes from heaven. They're drinking water and beverages that are coming from a rock. They are being protected by a cloud. They're invincible. I mean, they're basically being nourished with miracles. Let's talk about it and let's celebrate. Let's look at another holiday, which we're all familiar with, the story of Hanukkah. Well, we have this tremendous miracle of oil burning, but that's not it. There's a change. Until the story of Hanukkah takes place, the Jews are being persecuted by the Syrian Greeks. They're not allowed to worship in their traditional way, and their holy temple was desecrated after the miracle of Hanukkah. So we have now freedom to practice their religion. The holy temple is restored to its rightful owner. And then, without going deep into the history, according to Maimonides, the Jewish monarchy returned. Okay, that's a great 8-day holiday. Now let's look at Purim. Purim is a time when the Jews are living in the Persian Empire. After the great story happens, where are they living? In the great Persian Empire. Who is the king before the story of Purim? Ahasuerus. Who's the king after? Ahasuerus. Even the queen, she was Jewish before the story unfolds, and she's Jewish after the story unfolds. The only difference is that now the king knows it. And there's a Jewish advisor who was part of the royal persona before. So I'm asking you a question. Why is it recorded? There are no overt miracles, and seemingly there's no major change in the Jewish people. Yes, they found out that they could have been killed, but they weren't. Okay, it is a miracle, we're thankful, but why is it immortalized? Why is it written? Why is it read? Why is it studied year after year? So let me point out something. Many people say, if God would only make a miracle, I would be a believer. Everything is humdrum. If I could only see a miracle, it would be different. I would be observant. I would be traditional. I wouldn't have any questions or doubts. And I want to let you know something very sad and very true. You could sleep through a miracle. Let me point out just a couple of items. The story of Purim happened over 2,000 years ago, way before internet and TV. So if you're 100 miles away from the capital city, you know nothing about it. One day someone comes dusty and he says, did you know I come from the capital city? It's an amazing thing. There was this tremendous party and the queen insulted the king. So the king had her killed. And people are saying, okay, let's go back to farming. Like, so what? Nothing changed, right? No, silly man. No, silly woman. Of course something changed. Queen Esther is going to be a Jewish girl who will be chosen as the next queen of Persia. But no one knows that. And then maybe a year later or so, someone comes and says, did you hear the news? There was a plot against the king. They wanted to poison him, two people, but it was found out and they got rid of the bad guys. And again, you shrug your shoulders, me and the palace. I mean, what's new? Well, don't you know? Who's the one that found out about the plot? The Jewish advisor, Mordechai. And it was written down that he saved the king's life. And then we go, you go a little bit further. And someone said, did you hear the news? An unknown fellow was elevated to be the viceroy. He's a bosom buddy. He drinks with the king. And people are saying, what does that have to do with me? Why are you draining me a cup? Why are you making me spin? On and on and on. Until you read the whole story. Over 9 years takes place from the party of the king, where he kills his queen in a drunken stupor, in a sense, to the end of the story, where the Jewish people are saved from that wicked fiend, Haman. 9 years. Little pockets, little events that come together. What does that tell us? What that tells us is that nothing has to change, and that is a miracle. That is a miracle. If I told you that a sheep was surrounded by 70 wolves and nothing happened to the sheep, wouldn't you realize that that is a miracle? But nothing happened. They weren't hungry. 70 wolves? One sheep? No shepherd? Of course it's a miracle. The nothing happened proves that it was a miracle. And that is one of the reasons why this holiday is not only joyous, but it will never end. Even when the Mashiach will come, we will still be celebrating, because this holiday teaches us that nothing happens randomly. There are miracles happening constantly. God is watching over me and you, every individual, 24/7. You couldn't ask for better security, even if you paid top dollar. Everything that happens in this world is being orchestrated by God. There are miracles, but we're sleeping through it. We're just sleeping through it. So if I tell you that, there was a Gulf War, okay, it happened. If I tell you there was a 1967 war with Israel against, it just happened. If I tell you that there's a time where every country in the world was working in unison to stop sickness, that also. Friends, we are living in messianic times, literally messianic times. There are good things being placed in position. So when the story will be told, we will realize that we were part of this story. When we were in quarantine and we prayed in our house and we did homework with the children and we got along and began to appreciate our spouses, this goodness was actually crucial to create a world and a climate of goodness. And when we read about this person needs help and they've been helped with generosity that has been unparalleled. Jews are in the world in general, but without a doubt, Jewish people have been giving charity over the last year in an unheard of manner. Without exaggerating, hundreds of thousands of people have been supported mentally, physically, economically by strangers. Is that not worthy of of calling it a messianic harbinger, Purim is great. Nothing happened because God is with us. Nothing happened because God is watching us. Nothing happened because God is directing it. And that means everything is happening. Not nothing happened. Everything is happening, and it's all happening for the good. So I want to wish you a really happy, exuberant, joyful Purim. May we all experience hidden miracles, revealed miracles, to see and be privileged to glimpse the bigger picture. But in the interim, let's make our personal, individual, little somethings into things which are of great significance and import. And with this, we will gladly welcome the coming of Mashiach. Amen.